YouTube. So today I wanted to talk with you about whether rewards-based crowdfunding is right for you or not. There's many types of crowdfunding. I'm gonna have to kind of preface this video in that way. And you can learn about the many types of crowdfunding, by Googling or typing in other things into YouTube just to write, what other types of crowdfunding are there, like how many types of crowdfunding are there. And you will be able to learn about the different types of crowdfunding. But today we're going to talk specifically about rewards-based crowdfunding, which basically means raising funds for your project or your idea on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And running a campaign on Kickstarter and Indiegogo is called rewards-based crowdfunding because I like to think of, at least, it involves an exchange of value. You create a project, a product, a reward of some sort, and you exchange that with the monetary contribution from someone. So there's that exchange of value and there's that exchange of reward for money. So with rewards-based crowdfunding, it's kind of a fascinating topic in general. I like to think of the product adoption curve, and I'm going to put it up right here. And what I like to kind of think about when I think of crowdfunding and the product adoption curve is that this curve kind of illustrates how people and technologies and ideas spread to people. At the beginning of the curve, when it's still a little tiny, bitty small, it's the people who are the super gung-ho guys, right? People who are really excited about new ideas, really interested in new innovation, really want and need the newest of the new all the time, right? And then once it gets later into that graph, when it gets a little bigger and bigger, it's like, more of the market starts to adopt that technology. More of the market wants to use it. And then you go all the way to the other end of the product adoption curve, and you see things like, people who are kind of hesitant at first, people who don't really believe in what's going on, and they're like, okay, fine, I'll finally use this product. So it kind of, again, tells you how products get adopted in society, and it always is a very small minority of really gung-ho people, and then the mass market that starts adopting and actually using the product. And at the end, those people who are kind of called laggards at time, who are like, okay, this sounds a good idea, maybe I'll try using it now, after seeing everybody else use it, right? And so the cool thing I think about crowdfunding is that the people who actually want your product and want to support your idea is in that early adopter phase, in that early phase of that curve. It's just a fascinating idea in general, because people are literally willing to pay money for a product, your idea, your project that doesn't even exist yet, right? People on the internet, strangers over the internet, are actually forking over money to you through their credit cards for this idea you have that doesn't even exist yet. It might just be an early stage sketch or drawing, or a prototype, or literally just an idea, and they want to give you money to make it happen. And I think that's an incredibly fascinating thing. So let's really talk about if rewards-based crowdfunding, if running a campaign on Kickstarter and Indiegogo is right for you. And to do that, I think there are 5 questions that you have to answer for yourself. The first and most important question is, does my project even fit the crowdfunding model? Like I told you earlier, crowdfunding is really just an exchange of value. You have a reward, product, project, whatever, and then someone has, money, and they like your idea, and so there's that exchange. If your project doesn't have that reward in some way, or can't provide value for people in some way, then your project won't really fit the crowdfunding model, right? There can't be an exchange if there's no value that you're providing. And in terms of value, it can be anything from a hardware physical product. It can be earbuds, it can be a smart projector, it can be a drone, it can be anything like that, or it can even be a service, right? Maybe you are providing a consultation service in exchange for people giving funds to you to take your marketing agency off the ground. Or it's something like a membership to a site, or it's like an audio book or an ebook that people get, right? Like, or a graphic novel or so many other things, like a jacket. There's so many things that you can do that like creates value and is valuable for people to, you know, want to give funds to you. But that's the thing with rewards-based crowdfunding, the like things that work the best for providing and offering value is usually something tangible. It skews towards something that is like hardware. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a electronic device by any chance, but usually it's some people like receiving something tangible for contributing those funds. So it can be, again, like a graphic novel, like a autographed book, like a poster of something, right? So you should think to yourself, like, does my project fit the crowdfunding model where there has to be something of value in exchange for funds? But also think to back to the fact that most of the projects that are on crowdfunding are for actually something that's tangible, that's physical, that people can actually receive in the mail, open, you know, touch, feel, take pictures of, use. So that's kind of the first question you have to think about when you're thinking if, you know, if crowdfunding is right for you. The second thing I want to talk about today is, you know, think to yourself, like, do I want my idea out in the world? Fundamentally, crowdfunding is really public. You put your idea out there so that people around the world, all these people on the internet, will just see this idea and like want to back it. The trap that a lot of people I talk to fall into is that people think that their idea is completely new. It's completely novel and it hasn't been done before. So they don't want to like put out their idea. They don't want to make it public. They don't want to like show people that they thought of something and then they made this thing possible. But I want to say that really almost every idea is just a new iteration of an older one. Like every idea that exists and is coming out is probably just another iteration or another synthesis or another way of approaching the problem, and just in a different way. It's a solution to a problem that exists, and it's a solution that has a unique twist from something that has been done before. So if you're someone who really thinks that your idea is completely novel, completely new, and you don't want anyone to see it, then crowdfunding is probably not for you. You probably want to go to like angel investing or venture capital where you're like signing NDAs all the time and no one can talk about your idea, no one can steal your idea. Because with crowdfunding, your project is public and people might copy you. Like when you think about the fidget spinner or the fidget cube that was on Kickstarter, it raised millions of dollars. But by the end of the campaign, there were tons of it from other companies already flooding the market because it was just an easy idea to copy, and the people behind the fidget cube just couldn't deliver it right when they said they were going to deliver it. But just think about it this way. Do you want your idea out in the world? If you don't, crowdfunding is probably not for you because it's just really fundamentally public as like a platform to just get people to support your idea. If you don't want your idea out there, go to a different route. The third thing you should think about is, you know, does your idea solve a problem? Ask yourself that. Does it actually fundamentally just solve a problem? Sure, it might be really fun to launch like a fun little like knick-knack on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but the ones that actually take off and really make a difference is something that really does solve a problem. It offers that value for people that other things haven't been able to do, or it offers value for people in a way that hasn't been kind of seen before. Like when you're looking at, for example, audio products on crowdfunding, on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you can see that a lot of the projects that really take off are ones that like make your music sound a certain way. They like they mold the earbuds to your ears in a certain way, so it like blocks out noise, but also like amplifies the bass and the volume in the most optimal way for your ear or something like that. Like it solves a problem, and it solves it in a really unique way because people like really want to hear music. They want to feel the music, right? So ask yourself this, like, does your project solve a problem? If it does, great. It'll probably be really much more likely to kind of take off because people love having their problem solved. No one just wants to just sit around with this problem and this frustration. If they see something that's going to solve their problem, they're going to really want it. The fourth thing I want to talk about is ask yourself, like, will people care about my project? A lot of people I talk to have been so like immersed in their project, they haven't even had the time to like look up and look around and ask people, like, do you think that this is cool or not? And really, one of the dangers of being passionate about a certain topic, like, I love that people I work with are super passionate about what they want to do and what they want to build and what they want to introduce to the world. But really, one of the dangers of being super passionate about something is that people sometimes have the tendency to just believe everyone else will love the project and be as interested in it as you are, right? So don't let this be let this be you. Like, don't wait. Just go out and ask people. See if they care about your project. Not ask strangers on the street, people in the checkout line at the grocery store, your neighbor, the person like running next to you at the gym, just anyone out there when you're walking your dog, people at the dog park. Just ask them, hey, I'm like thinking about this idea. Like, what do you think? Would you use it? Do you see people like being interested in it? Just have conversations. Stuff like this is kind of the basis of your market research too, right? Like, finding out if people will actually care, if there's a demand. You can't just go and just create a product in a vacuum and then find out at the end, like, oh crap, no one wants this. What am I gonna do, right? So make sure just to ask people, get out there, make yourself vulnerable, and ask people if they want your product or not. Because if they don't care about your project, if other people like don't even want it, there's really no point in making it because no one will contribute funds to your idea and your project probably won't get successfully funded. And the last thing, I really encourage people to just like think through really deeply. Number 5 here is, are you ready to work hard? Are you ready to put in the hours and the time and the dedication to make your crowdfunding project work? Because to be honest, like, crowdfunding is kind of hard work. Crowdfunding really, it's not easy money. It's not putting up your project on Kickstarter or Indiegogo and just immediately getting thousands of people come to your page and getting hundreds of thousands of dollars within the first hour. Sure, companies do that, businesses do that, entrepreneurs can make that happen, but it all is the result of really, really hard work and a lot of hours and a lot of dedication that's put into it. So please ask yourself before you go into to launch a project or like think about launching a project, like, are you ready to work hard? It sometimes feels like a full-time job during a campaign. Like, a lot of the people I work with, they drink like 20 cups of coffee a day just in that last week alone coming up to their crowdfunding project because there's just so much they have to do all the time. Social media, getting the campaign page ready, getting all the emails out and ready, getting all the ads prepped. Like, there's so much you have to do all the time. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with creators who kind of just really underestimate the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that it actually takes to plan and execute a successful campaign. If you're not prepared to work hard or you don't have the time, I really recommend you to skip crowdfunding. So with that said, those are the 5 questions that I would ask before just diving into crowdfunding to see if this is even right for you. Ask yourself these questions. Does my project fit the crowdfunding model? Do I want my idea out in the world? Does my project solve a problem or not? Will people care about my project? And the last thing, like, am I willing to work hard? Those are the 5 key questions you have to think about before you just dive right in to crowdfunding. And if you have answers to these questions and you know that crowdfunding is the way to go, then, just continue watching YouTube videos on this channel, and also, go read the blog at crushcrowdfunding.com, because I hold nothing back in giving you as much value as possible. I'm going to continue just releasing videos to help you just launch on crowdfunding. So feel free to hit subscribe down below so you can get notified when I release new crowdfunding content. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I will see you next time.